Hi, this is Kathi Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I wanted to welcome you to our project of the week. Well, one more chance to do a couple of holiday things. So let's look at a couple of little things we could do for the holidays. Now, I'm going to go to my library. And I'm all about these free monthly designs that we get. We get free monthly designs every single month if you're a Floriani Total Control owner. Now, what I was going to do is think of how could we do some quick little gift. So let's go to December. Let's go to December 2020. Let's look at what Trevor had for us this month. Oh, there's our pretty little gnome. Love it, love it. I love these gnomes. Oh, we've got a beautiful sketch tree. We have a lace snowflake. Ooh, now there's a couple of things here that we could work with just out of here. This is way cool stuff. So let's look at these. First thing I want to do is let's go ahead and bring in our gnome. Now I'm going to bring in the JPEG first just so we can look at it. Sometimes it's good to look at these finished designs to see where we're going. Well, this is going to stitch in no time flat. Why? Because his beard and his hat are applique. How cool is that? So can you imagine how quickly you could do some cute little fingertip towels? Or you might want to put this on a pillowcase. Or I mean, the sky's the limit. This guy's cute as can be. You could actually stitch him out on Stitch and Shape and make a cute ornament for the tree. I mean, there's lots of stuff to do here. So I just wanted to see what it looked like stitched out. So let me come down. We're going to come straight down to the last icon. See this one that has the eye and it says toggle view backdrop? We can turn that off now. Let's go back into the designs and let's bring in our gnome. Okay, so we already know that his beard and his hat are applique. So let's kind of look at this a little bit. I might want to do a couple things, and let me change the color of my screen so we can see him good, because of course his beard's got white applique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click my little down arrow here, and you see where it says background color. I'm going to left mouse click on that and do color. You know, you can also audition some fabric if you want to see what something looks like on a piece of fabric. In fact, let's do that just for fun. Let's come and drop this down and say background color, and I want to look at it on fabric. And I want to look at on velvet. Let me see what I've got in here. A weave. Let me see. Ooh, on a dark brown linen. I mean, just kind of fun. Let's see what all we've got here. We've got all kinds of fabrics in here. So it just kind of gives you what it's going to look like on a specific fabric. Okay, so I can't change the color of the fabric, and these are all printed. Let's go with our, well, it's the holiday time. Let's go with velvet. Let me get some green. Okay, there's a green textured one. So you get the idea. You could see what it looks like on a fabric. Now that I've got him here, we can look at over here in our segment view. I'm going to close down my properties box for a moment so I can see my segment view big. Now the first thing that's going to stitch out are his feet. Okay, so his shoes here are a dark brown. So then I can come in here and I'm going to look at his hat. Now his hat is applique and it's all put together. It's all done as an applique, no problem. I can click this down and see that there's a placement line, a cut line, and a finish line. Okay, because you tack down and then you cut, and you'll get instructions before proceeding. Place the applique fabric over the placement lines. Now I'm all about pre-cutting. I think you ought to digitally cut if you have a cutter, or you can cut it out with scissors by printing that on applique wonder. So what I'm going to do right here is I am going to copy this, just his hat. And I'm going to copy it. I'm going to open a new piece of paper. And I'm going to paste. I would do the same with his beard. I'm just going to do the hat so you can see the process. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right mouse click on this and I'm going to break up my applique. So there is my placement line. So if this is your placement line, and your placement line is always underneath. So you can see this is my placement line. Now there's your tack down line if you're going to trim in the hoop, which I don't recommend. I really like pre-cutting, so I see my placement line. So I'm going to right mouse click on that and I'm going to copy that. And I would have done it from the original design, but I wanted you to be able to see these steps real clear. So this is my cut line. Now, if you're using a digital cutter, you're ready, because you're going to iron your fabric, your applique fabric, onto Applique Wonder or Quilter Select Applistick, Floriani Applique Wonder or Quilter Select Applistick. We're going to iron our fabric. Now, if I'm using a digital cutter, I'm going to cut it fabric side looking at me, and this is exactly how it should go. So I would save this at this point. I would say File, Save As, and I would save this as Gnome Hat. And I'm going to save this in an SVG file, right? SVG, your cutter is going to read. Any cutter reads an SVG. Now, brother cutter, Scan & Cuts, will read FCMs, but everybody reads an SVG. So we can save that as an SVG file. And let's go ahead and go up. Let's go to our desktop and let's create a folder. And I'm going to call it my Gnome. And I'm going to save this into my Gnome folder. There's that SVG file. Okay, great. Now, what if I don't have a digital cutter and I'm going to cut this out with scissors? I'm still going to iron my fabric onto my Applique Wonder or my Quilter Select Applistick, but what I'm going to need to do is mirror image this. So I've mirror imaged it. Now I will save it, File, and I'm going to Save As, and I'm going to call this my template. Okay, I'm going to call it Hat Template. Here we go. We're still under Gnome, and I'm going to call this Hat Template. There we go. And I can save it in any machine format. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to save that. Now, I've mirror imaged that, and the reason I saved it as a template or a machine file template is so I would know the difference between the two. So then I would say File, Print Preview. Now, this is if I am cutting this out with scissors. I'm going to say Print Preview. Now, I'm going to come in here. Let's go back to the hat for a minute. Let's close this. I'm number one going to make this black because I don't want to waste ink, colored ink. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to say File, Print Preview. And now I'm going to tell it exactly what I want it to print. I want it to print the hat actual size. I don't need notes. I don't need crosshairs. I've got stitch mode because I saved it in a machine format. I don't want to print any jump stitches. I don't need design notes. And I really don't need a title. So I'm going to say OK. So now I can print this out and cut it out with scissors after I've ironed it on to the fabric. So you're going to print it onto your template, your Applique Wonder or your Applistick, whichever you're doing. You're going to print it onto the paper side that's removed, the protective paper side. Then you're going to iron it onto your applique fabric, just a little piece, and you will pre-cut it. Then when you go to stitch out your design, when you go to stitch this design out, what's going to happen, let's go to Redraw here. I lost my Redraw again. Bless my heart. There it is. It's in front of me. I move things around so I can't find them. And why am I not redrawing, Kathi Quinn? What have you done? If something's not working, chances are, let me see, I don't see my slow redraw come up. Why not? What have I done? I've got this selected. I'm good. I should be able to slow redraw it without a problem. And my redraw is not coming up. Now let me just think a moment, because generally it's something I'm not catching. And if I'm not catching it, there's chances you may not catch it. Okay, stitches. We're good. Everything is good. Oh, let's look on my toolbars. Let's try that and see if my slow redraw is turned off. That's what's wrong. There we go. Let's try now. Go back to my toolbars. Slow redraw. It's on. It's selected as being available. So I know that's there. Okay. Well, I can't tell you why slow redraw is not working. I think I'm running the same version you are. Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to hide everything except the shoes. So now the first thing that's going to stitch out are those shoes. Then I'm going to stitch out the placement line. I will stick my hat down and it will finish it. Then I will do the same thing for the beard I did with the hat to make my fabric pre-cut. Then it's going to stitch out part of the gift, and it's going to continue to stitch out the pretty little gift. Then it's going to stitch out the bow. Now we've got our little gnome, our little middle to our bowl, and then we're going to get our gnome nose and hands, and that is the order it will stitch out in. So we will stitch out our gnome. Now whether you're going to put it on, like I say, you can put this on a pillowcase, you can put it on a fingertip towel, you can put it on a cup towel, you know, you can have a great time. But this is how we would work this. Now, if you didn't like any of the colors, how easy is it to change the color? Maybe I don't want him to have on mahogany shoes. Maybe I want him to have on red shoes for the holidays. So I just simply select the shoes and select the color I want them to be. So we change them from mahogany. Woo, I had too many things selected. Undo is your friend. We change the shoes. I just want to change them to mahogany. Or I can select those shoes and change them to red. Now, if I was putting this guy on here, because this is applique, the applique fabric would very nicely cover the green from shadowing through. And then, of course, you can use a pretty print fabric for his hat. So I hope you enjoyed this week talking about maybe pulling this apart, using some free designs to do some designs, to do some gifts, little cute gifts. You could even do this on cardstock. If you took cardstock or rag paper and put it on our perfect stick cutaway, you could do a cute little card or a tag. Stitch this straight onto Stitch and Shape, and you could cut that out and use that as an ornament or a tag on a gift. How fun is this? So I hope you have a great holiday. I look forward to seeing you for the new year. Have a great week.